What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another dope edition of Define Your Legacy. And before we get tapped into today's episode, just want to shout out the online store of Define Your Legacy, which can be found at the link in the description of this episode. All right. But just like that, let's jump right into today's episode. All right. We have Mel on the show. How you doing, Mel?
I'm doing good.
Doing good. All right. So I know we got some things to talk about. All right, this is your first time being on the podcast, right?
Yes, my first time. Yes, any podcast.
Okay. So if you could, then this is the first question for you. All right. If you could, of course, obviously just introduce yourself and tell the world what it is that you do.
Okay. Well, my name is Melinda. Everyone calls me Mel. I'm a hairstylist. I've been doing hair since forever. Literally, I've been doing other people's hair since I was about 10, and I just turned 30 this year. I travel and, to work in different states as well. But I'm based in Connecticut and New York.
Okay. And you said you've been doing it for a while. So take me back to like when you first got started. Do you remember even way back when?
Yes, I do. I never thought the styles that my mom did was cute. Like I wanted the it girl styles. And, I had the little Jamaican hairstyles, like, 4 plaits and, like it just was childish. As a child, it just was like, this is just not what I want. So I just secretly do my hair until I actually got good at it, like just by locking the door and, trying. So I'm self-taught. And then by the time I was probably 8, I started to do my own hair. My mom did not have to do my hair. And then by the time I was 10, turning 11, everybody from my church, from my community, from my school, everybody would come and get their hair done. So, yeah.
By you?
By me, yep.
So how did that feel, though, like being 10 and 11 years old doing that?
I was just so happy to just play and hear that. I mean, that's the only expression I could have had because it wasn't profitable. I mean, I was just so happy to do anybody's hair. There was never a price in negotiation. I was just like, okay, and then obviously people took advantage of that because I was just a little girl. So they were like, I would get $10, $5 food. Like I was getting paid like a crackhead. So yeah, but I just loved it so much, so I didn't care. Yeah, but when I got older, I had my little prices for certain stuff, and I was really known for braids. I used to do all the crazy designs. I used to write people's names in their hair. Until I realized, I think that was the first time I realized I wasn't getting paid enough. Because I'm like, no one could do this around me, like around my area. So I kind of stopped doing that. But yeah.
Yeah. And so now, you talk about, you started doing it when, around 10 and 11. And now, right, you just said you celebrated a birthday. So that's the idea of years and even decades later. Talk about, I guess, the overall growth from when you first started to where you're at now.
Overall growth. I feel like that's a hard question for me because I don't really look at like when I want something, I don't stop until I get it. And it's very personal. It's never about what someone else wants for me or what the world thinks I should have or shouldn't have. So I feel like anytime I accomplish something, maybe I'm not that grateful, I guess, or I don't really look back at something to be like, to actually look at my overall growth. Sometimes, every once in a while, I do reflect. I'm like, damn, I actually did what I said I was going to do. Because there's just always more to learn. And just always more to do. So it's like the minute I accomplish something, I'm like, okay, I'm on to the next. Like, what is next? I'm never like, oh wow, like I'm never impressed with myself. It doesn't, no one could ever gas my head. I'm confident, sure of what I'm sure of, but I'm just, no one could ever gas me. Like, so.
Have you always been like that?
Yes. Yes.
Can I ask why? Is that just a personal thing?
I think it's just my energy. Like, it's not really a, it's just personal. Like, I think that by the time I like, something may seem like impossible, right? And, you know, that I'm blessed enough to even be a part of whatever it is, even on a smaller scale, whether it's just starting something, being introduced to something. And if I stick through it long enough to get to the end, like, it always felt like a breeze. Like, everything always felt like a breeze. So it's just like, I'm not being challenged. Like, that's how I feel. I'm like, that wasn't a challenge. I don't really ever remember the hardship of it, because I think just generally, because I enjoy doing what I do, I'm like, I also like to be challenged as well. So it's like, let's do something else. And I like to be different. I like to be creative. So yeah. It may, like, if I do something that it seems like, you know, everyone's on, I may not feel like so excited to, I don't know. I don't know if that
No,
makes
I
sense
hear
to
you.
you.
I hear you. Yeah. So a lot of people, I feel like, are motivated by hardship, and obstacles and challenges. But so going off that, what would you say has motivated you all these years?
That's definitely a big part of it, because I feel like, um, I always feel like I can only depend on myself. Um, because it is true. You really only do have you. And then that doesn't mean that you cannot reach out to someone, drop your ego, you know, your pride, and ask for help. But I just know that if I'm consistent enough, if I plan ahead, if I do put certain things, if I align certain things, then I'll be able to show up for myself. Like, so when I'm doing, when I'm like trying to achieve the next thing, I am just trying to show up for myself. And I feel like, that also made me not show up for myself in so many other ways, like, medically, mentally, like, well, not both of those things together, but I guess, yes, mental health too. Because when you're just focused on the next task, and then also the type of industry that I'm in, I'm serving others, you know, getting them ready, feeding their soul. Is not just they get an experience, you know, and I give my energy. So sometimes there's none left for me. Well, that's how it used to be. And that's something that I had to like take a step back and try to change, you know, over the last couple of years. Because as I said, like, sometimes I'm just like so much on go that I may not see like a problem. So it took me a very long time to figure that out. Like, people would be able to call me, text me at any hour. I will have a full day, have 10, 12 clients. Somebody will call me last minute, like, can you please, you know, get me in? It don't matter if I'm going on vacation, whatever. I'm like, well, girl, if you don't mind coming at 3:00 in the morning, then you could come. And they'll be crazy enough to be like, all right, I'll be there at 3. I'll be there at midnight, whatever time. Like, so I was just always just so focused on just getting everybody together, you know, doing what I love, that I also neglecting myself.
Yeah.
So hardship does have a lot to do with, you know, everything, because both of my parents are immigrants, you know, both from Jamaica. And, they did what they could. So it's like the minute that I found something that I enjoy doing, like I tried to take care of myself pretty much. By fifth grade, I was so happy because I'm like, I can go shopping and my mom's favorite line used to always be like, well, until you buy your own clothes, then whatever. Like, till you buy your own clothes, then you can't, you have to wear this or whatever. And by fifth grade, I was buying all my clothes. I wasn't shopping anywhere fancy, but it felt like it was fancy because I bought it with my own money. And I bought the things closest to my style, even though they were all on sale and clearance. I bought, stuff closest to my style because I was able to do so.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, to give yourself credit too, you also in fifth grade. So I mean that's not normal. That's a good thing. I mean, like when you kind of compare most the average 10-year-old,
well,
but even in thinking about that, like you got to experience what ownership meant at a very early age, even before you were a teenager. So
yeah.
has your definition changed a little bit of the word ownership?
Well, I feel like I'd never thought of ownership at that age. I never thought of it. It was like, first of all, I feel like now people are they hold hairstylists to a higher just standard of life, I guess, because now it's social media. People get a deeper look. People have also learned to they started to learn more about their finances with their business, due to just seeing the lifestyles of other people online, other people having classes, trying to teach, the industry how to actually make money and progress or whatever. But back in the day, no one respected hairstylists. They didn't. They needed them because they wanted to look cute to go out. They wanted to do whatever. The respect was at a bare minimum. It was like respect enough to have a conversation with you and get the service that they need. But I don't feel like they considered hairstylists, most hairstylists, entrepreneurs or being owners of anything. From my experience, even though I always had a good clientele, just watching the attitudes of certain people and other hairstylists, because I used to go to salons to get my hair done still just because. And it was more like, oh, well, you're serving me and like you're beneath me if you're serving me. And I feel like now the roles have kind of changed a bit. Like people are dying to get into a stylist chair. They can just walk into their salon because they have online booking, have policies that's set in place. There's a card on file. No one wants to get their card charged for a service that they didn't receive yet, or them being late 5 to 10 minutes and their entire appointment being canceled. Like the time is being respected. I come from an era where my time was not respected at all. I've been through every single era of, like, how they say millennials been through almost everything. Like that is me in my career. Like, when I used to meet people anywhere I go, like, and people that I also know, they'll be like, oh, I want my hair done on this date or whatever. And this was a time like you just pull out your little notebook. I had like a Winnie the Pooh calendar that someone gave me like as a gift. And I'm like, I want to use this as my, like, I thought I was just so professional. I'm like, I'm going to use this as my, my appointment book. So I would write their name down. I'm like, what's your number? I used to try to fill in all the, questions. They had the address, which was unnecessary, but some people even did it just to be extra. And then I'll put their time in. And then, I'm waiting around. I'm so happy to do their hair. Everything's clean, set up. And then I will call them. Sometimes they won't answer, or I'll call them and I'm like, oh, I'm running late. And then come whenever they feel like it. or they'll just like try to bargain me over the phone, like, oh, I forgot that I made that appointment. Well, could you do something else? Like, how much is this going to cost? Is this going to be a little cheaper if I do this? Oh, well, I'm just not coming. So now I, as a young person, when I'm supposed to be playing, going to the mall, doing stuff with my friends, I'm sitting around, and I'm not getting compensated for my time, or anything. There's no deposit being left at all. And, I don't have, I feel like, my mom, she was just proud that I'm doing something that I like, that I love. So she wasn't going to just, dig deep into the business, because it takes a while for you to even understand that you're being played half of the time, So and she doesn't have her own business. So there was not like an entrepreneur in my family. I'm pretty much was the first. There was not an entrepreneur in my family that I could look up to. I'm like, what do you think I should do to make this, a better experience for me and my clients, Because even though there was not technology, even though technology wasn't used in that way, I'm sure there could have been some type of system in place for me to make my business, smoother, but I just had to learn everything on my own. So.
But how did you do that though? Because I feel like nowadays that's starting to, I guess, become more and more common, right? Where a lot of, I guess, young people are looking to start something, but their parents or whatever may not be entrepreneurs. So was there anything that allowed you to either keep going or that allowed you to learn more, right? Whether it be a mentor or watching certain YouTube videos or whatever the case may be that kind of helped you?
I had no mentor. I wish I did. That's something that I wish I had. YouTube wasn't, like, obviously when I got older, because I said I'm 30 now. So like, I feel like I started to get more into YouTube, like, because I feel like when we used to watch YouTube, like, when we were kids, it was like music videos, what's the hottest dance, you know what I'm saying? Some drama, rap battle, like that was the stuff we watched. Nobody was like, how do you put your hair in a ponytail and layer? Like there's tutorials on everything. Like I would never have thought, someone has a toothbrush and some gel and they're showing someone how to swoop an edge. Like that is, my nephew watches other people play video games. Like that is weird to me. Like that's weird.
Yeah.
So, I like how I got to, like want to stay in it, I guess, I just had the passion really. And I also practiced everything on myself, every single thing. If I seen someone with a style that I've never seen before, I will just stare hard enough and I will grasp it so fast, like just by looking at it. I may not know the technicalities of it. I may not know how to make it last as long as someone who has, perfected it or whatever. But I will get it very, very close. Like, so I tried every single thing on myself. I've never put a product out on someone. I never did a style on someone that I didn't try on myself first. So I was literally my own canvas. Like, and I think that's where the motivation came from, because I always got good feedback from myself. Like I was through my walking billboard for like forever, like until maybe like, I don't know, maybe like 4 years ago. It's just like, it's exhausting.
Well, now with the social media, I feel like that definitely helps, in terms of, I feel like increasing and growing someone's overall brand and the product and service that people can provide. But two things I want to talk to you about too was time and discounts when it comes to friends. Okay, so the first one with time, how important is time to you?
Time is the most important thing to me. And oh my God, I just wish more people would understand that. I'm the person that when I'm doing anything for my life, I schedule in the seconds. Even some of my friends are like, oh, Mel, relax, like it's not that deep. And it's like, now we're about to get into a whole fight because it is that deep. Every second counts. Every second counts. Like, I don't care what I'm doing or what it is, but every second counts to me, because it's like, people think that sometimes those seconds, they think that, first of all, they're nothing. And then they're in their mind being like, oh, well, there's nothing you could have accomplished in 10 seconds. There's nothing you could have accomplished in whatever. If you ever were so tired in your life where you didn't sleep for whatever days, and you just got to rest your head for 2 minutes, like you just feel like a weight was lifting over your off your shoulders. Like you feel like you kind of got reset. So it's like when people don't value my time, like, and they find a way to just like screw up my day, I take that personal. Like I take that very personal.
And also, it's yours, right? It belongs to you. And then the thing is, you can't get it back, right?
Yep.
Yeah. But which one do you think has been tougher to manage, if you don't mind me asking? Just the idea from a money perspective or a time perspective, right? Like managing, your overall availability, or making sure people, because you mentioned the bargaining part, right? Like earlier before, people saying, well, can you, do this, do that. So which one of those two things have you been like either more firm on, or you feel like, all right, I'm not playing with either one? It could be both, right? But if you had to choose one, which one?
That is the hardest. I feel like time is the hardest because, as for me, like I take pride in anything I do. It doesn't matter. Like if you talk to anybody who knows me, I'm not the friend that you ask for a favor and I'm going to do it like it's a favor for you. I'm going to do it willingly. I'm going to do it correctly. And yeah, I'm going to put my all into it. So it's like each person that I touch, like they don't get a service where it's like, okay, I like this person more, so they here gonna look cute. The other person here is gonna look mediocre. I'm gonna rush this person out of here because I gotta go on a date. Like I've worked with people who do that, and it's like you do have to make time for yourself. And low-key, it's like I don't blame them, but it's like in the long run, you're never gonna have those people because no one wants to spend their money. What I try to do now, I try to make sure that when people are spending money with me, whether I go through it really fast or it's taking me hours to do it, you're gonna know your money was well spent because that time slot that you had was for you, and you got everything you asked for and some most of the times, because I'm gonna always do that extra step.
What's one thing you think a lot of people should know about hairstylists?
That's a tough. I would say the main thing is that they're human and they do hair for different reasons. Some people are not passionate, some people are talented and they, it's their job. But that the same way you clock out of work, they can clock out of work too. And their life goes on after you leave the chair. And I feel like that's the main thing. Because some people think that when you're, their service is just an ongoing thing. Like, yeah.
Your life is your life.
No matter how much policies you have in place, it does not matter. It doesn't matter what you do. Like, people are still going to try to, like, interfere with your peace of mind when you have your time and your days off. Just, yeah.
And you said you've done this in multiple states, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I work between New York and Connecticut. And I also work in Atlanta, I also work in LA. I can say this. I was working during the pandemic as well, but um, yeah, like during the beginning. But it just kind of like that trip. I kind of realized like I have no intentions of taking that trip until like I got a little bit more organized because I would be too jet lagged. So mainly now I'm working between those three states, Atlanta, New York, and Connecticut. But yeah, LA sometimes now.
How did you branch out to the other two? Because you're from Connecticut?
I'm from Connecticut.
Yeah. So how did you branch out to the other two states?
Well, I went to cosmetology school in New York. I when I decided I wanted to go to school, I'm like, you know what? I just want to go to New York because I feel like the schools there are better. You know, they offer like they just had better programs to me. So I would take the Greyhound to New York, um, which was horrible. Like one of the worst. Like I can never forget that. I can forget a lot of things, but I would never forget that. Because I purposely chose the afternoon program just so I would like ensure that I would be able to make it to school. Because I went to school in like dead smack in Manhattan. So it's just like, you know, there's nowhere to park, etc. Um, so yeah, so I would go, I would take the Greyhound. I think school started at 5:45. Um, and I would get to take the 1 o'clock bus. Oh, I do not miss that at all. Like we would get to the city, you know, on time sometimes, and uh, sometimes the bus is stuck like 3 blocks away from the station, and I'm on it for an extra 2 hours. Now I'm late for school, even though I left at 1 o'clock. And New York is a 2 hour trip. So it's like, you know, that I told myself like when I signed up for school, I was just like, I'll find a place after I sign up for school because I just know that if I wait to try to find a place in New York, which is very expensive, I would just never get to go to school or it'll just take years. So I did that horrible trip. And like, I just remember when I was leaving school, I don't remember what time I got out of school, but let's say it's like 9:45 and there's a 10 o'clock bus and I would have to run from 34th Street to 42nd Street with all my hair stuff because they also New York, you know, it's a lot going on in the city. So that building wasn't dedicated to my school either. It had like it's like 3 floors straight. That was for my school, and then a floor skipped, and then another thing. But obviously, it's like in a tall building, so. But yeah, so they had limited lockers. You only were able to use your lockers when you were in school. So there was no like way to keep your stuff over. So I had a big bag filled with sometimes 5 mannequins, all these hair tools, hair products, this, that, and then these heavy textbooks. They're like at least 5 of them. Hardback. It was horrible. And I would run. And I remember I missed that bus and I just wanted to cry. I probably cried. Who knows? I was just like, I need a drink. And I went to and I just went to the bar. I went to this bar and I'm just like, I need to move. Like this is horrible. And the first thing I went on Instagram and someone who I know, the first thing that I seen was, you know, I have a room for rent. I'm like, I immediately, the post was only up for maybe 6 seconds. It was at the top of my timeline.
Damn.
I immediately hit her up. I don't even think she like could have believed like it would have happened so fast. Like I was so desperate. So like, yeah, after that, I probably moved in like a week later. I don't even know if it's a week, but yeah. So I lived in New York. I lived in New York for a while. So going to school and then now having to pay rent, even renting a room in New York is what I paid for a room in New York. I could have got an apartment in Hartford for sure, Connecticut in general. But I was just like, you know what? Now that I live here, I'm not going to be able to make as much money because my schedule is changing now. I can't just do anybody's hair. However, whenever I want to, I need to build a new clientele. So I would say through my roommate and people who I met, I just end up making connections and, going to different events and stuff. That's how I end up building, some clientele. Then obviously social media was getting really hot at that time. Instagram particularly. So yeah.
Yeah. And even too, I know you talk about going through that stage, right? And someone else out there may be going through a similar stage like that right now. So what's something that you would say to aspiring hairstylists or ones that may be looking to become one right now?
I feel like people give up too easy. As I said, when I want something, I'm going all in. If I try to get everything that I felt like I deserved, without putting in the work, I wouldn't be anywhere close to where I'm at right now. I've invested so much money into my business, into myself, to the point where it's breaking even is sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I wouldn't even break even. I remember when I made this decision to go to school, I would tell some people, I told a few people that were close to me, I'm going to do this. I decided, I'm going to go to New York. And I remember being sad because I just thought that, I'm telling them good news and I was supposed to get good feedback. And I just got questioned. Well, why are you going to school all the way in New York when you could just go to school here or whatever? Isn't that going to be hard? Because where are you going to live? I'm like, I will figure it out. I will figure it out. And I did. And the thing is, even if I had to go through the entire semester, the entire semester of school without living in New York, I would have done it. It would have been horrible, but I would have done it. So.
Isn't that frustrating if when you tell someone, I guess, your overall goals or dreams and the response is why, or the response is are you sure? Is that something you have to deal with?
So, I feel even now, I'm not really other than people who know me or people that get to, sit down and talk to me, in real life, I'm not transparent, especially when it comes down to online because, I also read people's energies. I see how they interact, how they think, and then I choose what information I want to disperse because I feel if you're talking to the wrong person, they're going to project what they feel on you. And it doesn't have to be shade or them being rude. Sometimes they really think that they are helping you, through something. I know that I take a lot of risks. That's all I the most extreme risk. And some people who I know that they do not take risk at all. They're very calculated. And that's also a great trait. I've had to learn now, being a little older, okay, you cannot wing everything. You don't want to wing everything. That's also exhausting too. So you have to have a little bit of more structure or whatever. It does have an impact on how you move forward because I was having a conversation with someone recently and I told them the more you engage with people, it alters your life. Every single engagement that I have with a person, any person, and I meet people every day, it will change your life. It doesn't have to be for the better all the time. And if you're meeting people that are not doing, if you're meeting people that are not doing anything close to what you're doing, it will impact you negatively. It will impact you negatively because they're gonna do is project fears onto you because they don't understand what you're doing. They don't. So, like as I mentioned earlier, I didn't have any mentors. So I try to be that for other people, even people who do nothing, close to what I do. Like, I encourage all of my clients to do anything. I don't care how crazy that shit sound. Like, you want to do whatever, like, I don't care. Like, yup, all right, let's look into what's the best way to do it. If I see a video on, someone doing doing what they want to do, if I see a class training, I'm sending it to them. Like, just trying to encourage people, because like, just never, and I can't say that I never had people encourage me. I had a lot of encouragement, but it was just, I'm like one of those people that I have to see to believe. So like when I was younger, like a lot of people like, yo, you're so good. Some of my mom's friends, like, if you want a salon, because I never wanted a salon. I still don't have one to this day. But yeah, I never wanted a salon when I was younger. And they were like, I will invest in you. I will invest in a salon for you because you're just so good. But I also have learned that people talk. It has nothing to do with, the money that they had or had that they didn't have. But it's like, I'm just so used to, just as I was telling you earlier, just depending on myself, that when people say stuff like that, it just seems like cap. Like, yeah. So, the only thing I do, it's not a regret. It's just, I always wonder, like, I wonder if I was, if I had the opportunities, I guess, that some of these kids get to have now, like getting exposure from around the world just by posting something from your phone. If I was able to challenge those people that said they would invest in me, because it's not that I wouldn't have that I didn't want it entirely. I just knew that comes with responsibility. And it's like, my heart was in the work itself, not with the actual, like, business, I guess, of it. And I think also too, like, starting off so young and knowing how people can play you. Like, if you speak to any hairstylist that started doing hair when they were young, that didn't have, I can't say any hairstylist, but someone, I guess, with a similar story, like, people, when I say people did not respect hairstylists, you'll tell them, oh yeah, I charge $40 for this. They will show up to their appointment with McDonald's and do it. You know what I'm saying? And especially, like, when you're young, you're gonna get young clientele. So, you know what I'm saying? They'll think that they're doing you a favor by getting a McChicken that was $1. You know what I'm saying? a small fry and a drink. That's what, $3.19. I don't know. And then now this $40 hairdo turned into $36 and I don't know, 87 cents. What? And it's like, what can you say at that point? Because it's like I grew up in Hartford, which we know is just not like, Hartford is Hartford, it's a city. So I feel like I come from, respectable parents that care, that will be embarrassed by certain things. And even though I might have experienced the hood, like, I wasn't gonna fight every person.
All right, so do me a favor, all right? Fill in the blank on this one. All right. Being a hairstylist is blank.
Damn, you gonna have to edit this because I like what? It's it's a lot of things. I don't know. Say it again. Let me see if it's
All right,
something.
guys. Yeah, I'm about to say let's get the flow. All right, being a hairstylist is blank. Is it fun? Is it exhausting? I know it's something that you mentioned that you've been doing for a while now, but
It's
it's worth it.
being a hairstylist is like it's a win world of everything, meaning it can be from emotions to your creativity. Every single thing, every single thing is like involved in this little service. Um, I mean, sometimes you can have like just rewarding days just within your career. You have intimate moments with your clients, and uh, you have creative moments in everything because it's like, uh, hair is if you're a model or no matter what you do, even in a professional world, no matter what you do, like hair is a big part of just everyday life. Like, I mean, truly, if you have your hair done and you're naked, is like you're dressed. So that also comes with also a lot of pressure because you are shaping that person's image. Like even a guy's like, girls just see a guy with their hair cut low and they're like, okay, anybody can do that. Why don't you just go to a different barber? And it's like a female will never go to well, I can't say any female, but a particular female, my type of clientele, they're not gonna no, yeah. It is not even just about me in particular, but they're not gonna just go to any and everybody. Like, and it's like you're helping people build their entire brand. So being a hairstylist is actually like being a what would you call that?
I feel like you're a lot wrapped up into one.
Yeah.
Like obviously as a guy, to your point too about the idea of having a barber, and like we're not really gonna go to like more than one,
Yeah.
and you're in an industry where it's like, that I feel like that's one of maybe very few things that, like, if I'm allowed to say this, but that women will always try their best to make sure, it's taken care of.
Yeah.
Right?
Even if
Like,
it's like the hair is done, everything is done.
mm,
Everything.
mm,
And it's like now it's a little bit harder. Like when you're younger, I mean, I guess when you're younger, yeah, but even people that was my age when I was younger, like having your hair done was the must. Like you had your appointments scheduled every 2 weeks, you know, especially because people weren't wearing wigs and doing, doing little DIY stuff. Like you had your hair, you had your hair done, you got your eyebrows done. Like makeup wasn't even a thing. So that's also even beautiful too. Like makeup artists are killing it. Like they're able to get a lot of clients in a day. They're really good and fast, like, and make a lot of money. And some girls that, get into that side of beauty as a client, they'll get their makeup done to go nowhere. If they're,
wow.
it doesn't matter what it is. If their grandmother invited them to church, they'd be like, all right, I want to be here. So if I'm going to come, I'm going to look cute. Let me put my, get my makeup done here. Like everything is event now because of social media. So.
Yeah. But how does one build up their clientele, right? Like, so whether it's been, I mean, obviously, like your story is very unique because you started off when you were, a child, but like obviously as you progress, like how does one kind of go from, doing family and friends to now getting people that you may not have met before?
Well, first off, you're always gonna be your walking billboard. People live outside of the social world. People are living life. So if you look great, like you're gonna be stopped. Even if someone is a hater, you look great, they're gonna have to stop and ask. And especially when it comes down to getting your hair done. Because someone may not tell you, you could have on a fly, you could have on a fly outfit. You know what I'm saying? Just look great overall. Certain people may tell you, you just look fabulous. Other people may tell you, like, skip over that part and just be like, I like your hair. Who does your hair? Because they want to be a part of that experience as well. So you're just gonna be your biggest canvas. Like, I know earlier I stated, like, you know, maybe in the past, I don't know, 4 years or so, like, I decided just not to be that person, only because it's exhausting. Because, like, after dealing, like, when my books got so just overwhelmingly just full, I would meet so much people in a day that would just be so draining to my energy, that when I'm doing regular stuff, like going home, like taking a train, whatever, I'm getting stopped constantly. I love your hair. Who does your hair? And then it's like, by the time you tell them you're a hairstylist, it's a new conversation. It's like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm tired. Like, you know, so I pretty much look raggedy so that way I don't have to talk to people.
Wow.
Like, literally, it has that. No, that is how bad it had gotten for me. Because it doesn't matter. I feel like also the way I do my clients' hair versus the way I do my hair is slightly different. Like, so I would get a range of clientele. Like, I personally like my hair like a little undone, not so neat. Like, you know, I just know, like, on camera you gotta have it like a little slick, whatever. But I feel like with that look, I get a lot of older clientele that just likes just more of an effortless look. And when your hair is like super laid and slick and super neat, you get a lot of younger clientele, you know. So it just depends on what you have to know your audience first. So, like, if your only way to reach new clientele is to just be yourself in the world, you have to make sure you are projecting that. So if I know I only want young clientele, I'm going to do stuff that young girls like. You got to do your research. You got to see what's trending, because that's what they're on. They're on what's new, you know. Older clientele, they like classic looks. Like, you know, when you get a certain age, like, even with men, like, most of the time, like, you find that one haircut, like, I don't know anything about, like, the exact numbers. Yeah, I'm like, I want a 1.5 over here.
Yeah.
Like, that's your standard haircut. And when, no matter who you go to, that is what you're going to tell them. Like, older clientele, that's how they are. They have their look, and that's that.
Yeah. And just studying up on I feel like your craft, you know, just kind of knowing things that you need.
Biggest things. I took so many classes before it was popular to take a class. That's one thing I do love to see in my community, like, a lot of hairstylists now teaching classes. I continue to invest in myself. Like, a lot of the classes that I took earlier on, especially, they were not taught by any Black people. I was always either the only Black person in the room, or it was like another girl, maybe. Like, because the techniques that I was trying to learn I was trying to bring my clients something different to what we already know. Like, when you go to beauty school, they don't teach you how to braid hair. They don't teach you extensions. They, like, any form of extensions. If you learn any form of extensions in a school, is because two things: your school may have a partnership with them, or you have a teacher, that's the number one, a teacher that has passion in that, and they decide to teach that to you for extracurricular. Is not a part of the program whatsoever. And it's like, you know, growing up, you know, as a Black girl, braiding, weaves, all that stuff, that's already a part of our community. And then when you go to beauty school, you learn the basic level of everything. You don't learn to do hair good. You learn how to do the basics. Like, there's a lot of actual textbook work that you have to do before you even get to the salon floor. And then when you get to the salon floor, you being able to be creative and stuff like that sometimes may not even happen. It's just the practice that makes you get a little bit better. So I try to bring back like techniques that I can mix with what I already do and what I already learned to my clients, so that way they can have like a unique look. So like I'm known for like coloring hair with weaves or extensions, but and those coloring techniques like was not taught to our community, like, you know. So I got a lot of clientele through that. Even now, like I will have people just DM me to order a wig or anything like that they want custom colored, and I just ship it to them. I don't even have to see them. Or that's just an added service that I can give my clients, and it gives them personality. And each person I do, no matter what picture they show me, or it's always going to be, I'm going to always add something that's just a little unique to like fit their lifestyle and their face. So yeah, all the techniques that I learned is just pretty much to try to give my clients an experience, because I believe that you should have different people for different things that are experts in what they do. So that way you're always satisfied with your results. Like if I only specialize in 5 things and I'm actually good at them, those are the only 5 things that you should want to book with me for, unless you're open to someone practicing on you, because that's what it will be. Like, and
I have a question. What would you say your most proud moment has been as a hairstylist?
Oh God, that's like one of the worst questions to ask someone like me. Like,
Good thing,
proud,
right?
it's one of the worst questions to ask, because it's like I'm never really impressed. Like other people may be impressed and they're like, oh my God. And I'm like, I'm grateful that you feel, whatever good about what I do, but I'm never really impressed. Not in a way where I'm bringing myself down by any means. It's just like, as I said earlier, it's just like, okay, I've done this already. What is next? I don't know.
Yeah. No, I hear you. You have a correct me if I'm wrong, but like you can always do more mentality, maybe. Just the idea of like.
I'm always looking for, like, I'm not that stylist, and I can never be a stylist that just like, when someone comes to me to get their hair done, if they come to me every week, I'm still going to have to give them the mirror and be like, all right, feedback. Because just because someone comes to you every week doesn't mean that something can't be off, something can be different, something could actually be better. Like I need to know that, when the person leaves, before the person leaves, they are satisfied. And also too, I always leave myself open enough to be able to have that that comfortable feeling to be like, you know what, I didn't notice this while I was here, but I see this. Immediately I will fix whatever it is, because I just need, like, each person, as I say, each person gets their own experience, like, and you need to love it. And that's just, so I think that's probably why I'm never so impressed, because it's not one body of work. Like what I can do and what I do collectively is not like, it's not being graded by me doing hair great most of the times, or me giving someone a good service most of the times. It's each experience. So I look at everything very individualized, I guess.
And so, it's cool to hear you say that too, because like I think we list out in here your entire story, right? Doing this even back to when you were 10 years old, even, you know, in 5th grade, and to now, where you're at now, years and decades later. I want to ask you a question that I ask everyone that's been on Define Your Legacy. And that question is, how do you want to be remembered?
Hmm. I think about this often. I want to be remembered as someone who always gave their best, um, always gave back, and just being authentic, because I am. If you sit in my chair, if you sit in my chair, I cannot tell you. Every person is gonna have a different story about me. It depends on what mood I'm in that day. It will never be rude though. That's one thing. It will never be rude. I do not give that type of energy. It's just unnecessary. But whatever I'm feeling that day, you know, it's gonna come out. I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna say some crazy stuff. You know, I can have some clients that just seem so quiet and they don't really want to talk. And maybe sometimes they're not even used to like I was even wanted to talk to them. And I'll just say crazy to them, like, okay, because you're gonna talk to me. We're gonna have a conversation. I'm gonna get to know you because I feel like getting to know somebody while you're, you know, aiding in their brand and their look, like you need to know who they are, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I mean, you know, having that conversation, especially if you're in your chair, I mean, you know, you can't be
My
silent
client
the entire time.
stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, again, you know, appreciate you for being on the show. If you could, if you don't mind, drop your social media, right? Like, where can people find you and receive any more information and things like that?
Okay, so my main page is Hair Savior _ so it's HAIRSAVIOR. Hope I spelled that
You did.
right.
You did. You're
um,
good. You're good.
um, and then I do have an extension line that I just officially launched for like the second time. It is Hair Savior's House. So that would be HAUS. Yes. Or Hair Savior House. And then also that's the name of my website as well. So it's hairsaviorshouse.com, where you can purchase, you know, extensions, wigs, good quality, of course. And hair products, natural hair products that I make, if they're not in stock, is because I literally take my time. I make them, done my research. I have, you know, I have some good stuff. Also, too, the link to book is also on there too. So yeah,
You say you make your own hair products.
I do. So I have two different oils, targeting two different things, but they also work well with each other. And then I have a butter, which is great for girls that want to maintain their natural hair. Doing natural styles. But they could even use it before they blow dry their hair, not for a blowout, because the product is more dense, but it is my personal favorite. And that has been out of stock for a while because I needed to find a new vendor for just one specific product in there, because I do not want to sub out for the quality. And that is, I don't even have any left for myself. So hopefully, you know, very soon that will be back in stock or whatever.
Gotcha. Okay, and that's also cool to hear. Are there any final words that you want to leave our lovely Define Your Legacy audience with?
No, just too weird. I don't know.
I mean, it can be related to anything, you know, it can be related to being a hairstylist. It can be related to advice to young people. It can be related to your clients. It can be related to, um, you know, just life in general, a lesson that you may have picked up along the way.
Okay, yes. So to young people or just anybody in general, you can cry and get shit done at the same time. Like, yeah, like I've been through so much different everything in my life. And sometimes I laugh when I'm mad. Sometimes I am crying and screaming. And sometimes you have to act a little chaotic and crazy, but then you move on. You don't spend time crying or wishing something was different. Sometimes you just gotta let it out and keep it moving. And I feel like that's just the best way to accomplish anything you want in life. Do not dwell on the pain. And then that's that.
Thug it out.
Yep, thug it
Thug it
out.
out. Just, you know, do what you gotta do. But on Defining Legacy front, y'all make sure you know you follow Defining Legacy on Instagram at Defining Legacy with an underscore at the end as well. Defining Legacy on Facebook, DYL Podcast on Twitter. Subscribe to Theus Elijah on YouTube and Theus Elijah on TikTok. And just like always, y'all Defining Legacy episodes drop every Thursday at 8:24 a.m. Eastern. All right. All episodes Defining Legacy, 8:24 a.m. Eastern. Mel, appreciate you for being on the show. And just like that, y'all, we gone. Peace.